Hello everyone, and welcome back to Revit Snippets. Great tips you can learn in just a few minutes.
This video is sponsored by Tagitize, the easiest way to run tag all on multiple Revit views and sheets. Also, say goodbye to overlapping tags. Tagitize will turn this into this. Try Tagitize completely for free using the link in this video's description. When you run tag all in Revit, does it tag more elements than you wanted to? I have a classic example here where tag all has tagged not just the main furniture objects, but also each and every single nested chair within each table. That has left me with a lot of unnecessary furniture tags to clean up. Well, all is not lost. I'm so lucky to have this little Dynamo script here to do the cleaning up for me. Let me just run it now and voila! It has instantly deleted the tags of all nested components in this view for me. Now I only have tags of the main parent family instances in a much cleaner drawing.
If you don't have much time and just want to run this script right away, simply find in the video's description a link to download this script directly. If you, however, want to learn to code this yourself, let me show you how right now, step by step. By the way, if you are new to this channel, make sure to subscribe now, because we do tutorials like this every single week. Okay, let's begin.
To start, let's create a new script in Dynamo. I will change the run mode from automatic to manual so it won't hang on us unexpectedly. I will now add a Python node to the graph and open it for editing. However, this is not a good script editor, so I'll type the code out in Visual Studio Code instead and copy it back into Dynamo at the end. If you're new to this workflow, don't worry. Just find in the video's description below a link to my other tutorial on how to set up this coding environment. It will also provide you with this Python template for Dynamo that will give you all the necessary information to then return to this video and start scripting with me. To recreate this script, the first thing we need is a custom function to detect which element is the host of a particular tag. I'll call it host element and give it a tag object as an input. Once inside the function, we can iterate through the ID values of all elements this tag references. For each element, I will check if its link instance ID is greater than 0. If yes, the element is from a Revit link, so I can get the link instance like this. However, there's no guarantee the link is loaded, so I will check now if the link instance object here is equal to none. If the link instance is valid, that means the link is loaded properly. That will allow me to get the link document like this. Once I have both the link document and the ID of the tag element, I can get the actual tag host from that Revit link by calling the get element like this. On the same line, I can also return the linked tag host and exit this function. On the other hand, if the tagged element is not from a Revit link, the function will finish this for loop and still haven't returned anything. In that case, we know the tagged element is from the active Revit model. That means we can just call get tag local elements on the tag and then return the first element found, like this. Alright, now that we have the custom function ready, let's start tackling the core code execution path. Moving on, let's collect all tags in the active Revit view. Next, I'll create a few new lists that we'll use later to store computation results. The first list is for valid tags we can process, and the second is for tags that are orphaned. These orphaned tags have lost association with their hosts. This means we won't be able to check if these hosts are nested components or not. Just to be safe, we will only report these tags at the end of the script and won't try to delete them. Tags often become orphaned if their host elements come from a Revit link and that link has changed or has been unloaded. Knowing these tags exist, the user can choose to fix or reload the link to make those tags not orphaned, and then rerun this script. Now let's start filling in these two lists. I can start looping through all collected tags. For each one, I'll check if its isOrphan property returns true. If so, let's add it to the list of orphaned tags. Otherwise, it goes to the valid tags list. With the first for loop done, let's now prepare for the second one. For that, I'll create one more list. This will hold ID values of tags we want to delete. To modify the model though, let's next create a transaction like this and then start it on the next line. Within this transaction, I can iterate through all the valid tags we collected previously. For each one, I'll call the host element custom function we created at the beginning. That will return the host element this tag references. Next, let's check if this host is not a none value. If so, I can then check if it's a family instance, like this. If that condition is also satisfied, I can check if this host is a nested component by reading its super component property. For a top-level family instance, this will return a none value. However, if this is a nested component, we will get its parent from this property. In that case, I can safely add the ID value of the current tag to the list of IDs to delete. Once that second for loop is finished, I may or may not have any ID values and IDs to delete. Let's add a condition here to make sure it's not empty, because calling delete on an empty list will give us an error. As long as there's at least one ID value in the list, this condition will return true, and I can safely call the delete method like this. Once the removal is done, I can commit the transaction to actually save changes to the model. Finally, let's return both the list of deleted ID values and the list of orphaned tags to the main Dynamo graph. Next, let's copy all text from this file, paste it into the Python node in Dynamo, save it, and close this node. Also, I'll change the Python version here from version 3 to version 2. This is because my Python script in Visual Studio Code was written in this lower version. With that, our Dynamo script is finally complete. Let's now run the script to see it in action. I'll first retag this view using tag all. We'll only create furniture tags with leader lines enabled. That was quick, but of course we get too many unwanted tags. Let's return to the script and run it to save the day. Alright, it has once again worked really well. However, you can see that it couldn't clean up the empty tags of those tables over here. This is because these tables are not nested components, so we need to try something else. Let me undo the tag all command, and this time use Tagitize instead to generate our tags. Here it's running the tag current view command, and voila, you can see we get a much cleaner tag layout now, right from the start. Tagitize not only avoids creating empty tags for these tables, but it also avoids tagging all nested components by default. You can configure it to tag those chairs as well, but in our case here, the default behavior works perfectly. Also, Tagitize was clever enough to use the best leader type and location for each tag to minimize the number of overlapping tags. Compared to using tag all, we have saved so much time. As a bonus, I can also tell Tagitize to combine identical tags in this view for an even cleaner tag layout. To do so, let's quickly open Tagitize settings. I can then switch to the Common Settings tab. Here, you can choose between multi-leader tags and individually stacked tags. Let's try the multi-leader option. Also, we need to enable tag grouping as well. So let's switch to the furniture categories, go to tag type selection, and then check the box for group tags of nearby hosts. You can even set a custom tag grouping distance here. For me, 20 feet works fine, so I'll leave it at that. We can now save our settings and retag this view. There we go. Now we get only one tag for each group of identical elements. Isn't that great? If you want to try Tagitize, simply use the link in this video's description to try it completely for free. There's also a link in the description to download the script we built together today. Even more, if you want to master Python scripting in Dynamo to create this kind of script yourself, check out my full online Python for Dynamo course. Also linked to in the video description.
If you like this lesson and want more like this every single week, make sure to subscribe to this channel now. For now, have a good day and I'll see you in the next tutorial.